Hello, everybody. It's Donna Cravata, and we're back with another Real 50 Over 50 interview. And today we have with us Dee Taylor. She's an intuitive online business manager, a wife, and a mom to three amazing boys. She's also a healer who has trained in various healing modalities. She founded a business process outsourcing company. Along with her team, they deliver operations management, accountability, strategy, and administrative support to busy female heart-centered spiritual entrepreneurs. And she has an amazing story to share, and we're going to get right into it. Welcome, Dee. So happy to be with you today.
Thanks, Donna. Thanks for having me. I'm quite excited to be here. As I shared with you earlier, I'm always in the back. It's different being in the front, and every now and again, I put my toe out there just to get a feel.
Well, I'm happy to have you and your toe here today.
Thank you.
Let's make you a little visible and get you out from behind the desk. So,
Oh,
how did you start your business? Like, what did you do before, and what led you
hmm,
to doing the work that you do?
yeah. So I had a corporate job, and you would know with Chevron. Actually, I worked for Chevron, South Africa. Loved the
Mhm.
job and everything. But then, I always knew I was going to work for myself. I just didn't know what I was going to do. I also didn't expect things to go the way that they did. And I think when I look back now, I probably was in the corporate career longer than what I was supposed to be. But things changed for me in 2009 when my middle son was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney cancer. And it was really different. It was as though I was being shown another perspective
Mhm.
on what's important for me in life, and also the fact that I was on a completely different path. I mean, I I always imaged that I was going to do work that was going to involve helping people, maybe hospice work, maybe be a nursing kind of person, or doing teaching and those types of professions. And here I found myself in IT. Specifically, I started off in IT and I progressed into. I've had various positions in business, and I ended my career in HR, but also in the IT side of things, project management and with projects, working with IT projects and all of those types of things. And then, of course, like I said, my son got ill, and I went on this year journey. And during that time, I felt that there was something different I wanted to do. But I had such an amazing supervisor who, when he heard my son was ill and what was going on, he said to me, I'm getting you a laptop. You work, you need to be there for your family, you work from wherever you are. If I see you in the office, that's good. If I don't, then I know that you're working remotely. And that was one of the reasons I stayed beyond that year finish and listening to that call to want to do something different. So I stayed out of loyalty to him. And when I actually I handed in my resignation 2.5 months before to give him time to sort of have someone sort of prep. But I trained someone in the meanwhile, knowing that one day I was going to leave.
Mhm.
And when I walked into his office and gave him the letter, he said to me, I knew this day was coming. I'm sad that it's arrived, but I knew this day was coming because there was another challenge that needed to be beat. Because that's how he
Wow,
knew me. And
wow.
so in 2000, at the end of 2014, I then finished my corporate career. And I didn't really know what I was going to do in terms of an income at that time. All I knew was that I was going to do some charity work associated with families of children with cancer,
Mhm.
with the nonprofit that I co-founded with two other moms at the time in 2011. And of course, I mean, you've got to survive. I have the philosophy that you cannot go out there and save the world if your family is going to suffer. And so charity begins at home. And so I felt that I needed to do something as well to bring an income and to help with my family expenses. And I came across this term. virtual assistant, and I looked at it and I went, what is this? And I saw and I said, well, I've got skills. I've literally worked in most support professions. And people used to laugh at me and say, "Are you planning on having your own, running your own business one day? Because you know everything about every sort of business unit. You know, finance, HR, marketing. You know, you've been everywhere." And I used to say, "Yes, I am. I just don't know what I'm going to do." Um, and so I said, "Well, VA, okay, I'll do that." And so that's what I did, and that's how I then end up doing what I'm doing today. Just having a bigger vision for that, because that vision became clear to me only in 2016. You know, um, I thought that I was going to do work for the charity, that was what I was going to be doing for the rest of my life.
Mhm.
But that was just the step. And so after 2 years of just volunteering for the charity and sort of doing this VA thing on the side to bring a little bit of income, I then got a sense of the fact that I was supposed to, what I'm supposed to do as part of my future. And that led me to basically start working as a business owner and starting to recruit a team and all of those types of things. Then supporting people like me,
That's amazing. That's
essentially.
a good sized that's a
Yeah.
good sized team, and your clients, are they, all over the world?
Yeah, so they are all over the world. I must say, before COVID, I didn't really sort of go out there and look for people in the world or market out there in the world. But COVID obviously um, meant that we needed to do things differently. And so I started to do what people I followed used to say: hang out where your idol clients hang out, you know, give advice and all of that. And I signed my first international client. It was February 2020, and we still work together today. 5 years later, I'm still supporting her. We're celebrating our 5-year anniversary in a couple of weeks' time. And that was sort of the start of all of that for me. And then through doing that, I realized more and more that that's really what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
And that's really what I wanted to bring as a solution the for my business. It's all linked to my why.
Mhm.
And really, I want to be for other women what my boss was for me. Women in my shoes who has a kid or has had a kid with cancer and needed the flexibility, needed the freedom. I want to be that. I want to be my boss, my
Yeah,
supervisor for women like me. And
yeah.
so that's what I'm trying to create. I'm trying to create this workforce of women who can work remotely, supporting people while still being able to give that love and care to their family, whether they've got a sick kid, whether they've got whatever that looks like. It just needs to be, it needs to make women really, really, we want to be there for our families. At the heart of everything we do, that's what we want. And so I'm going to create that, and I'm going to make that possible for African women. I know that that's what I'm purposed to do.
Mhm.
And so this is all part of taking the steps to do that and create that world eventually.
That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. Yeah, my story was very similar. I had
Yeah.
somebody that would champion me at the law firm where I worked and made it
Mm.
possible as a single parent to be, home more, but, it was just not gonna last, but I started my business the same exact way.
Yeah.
Um, but without a child with cancer and without a
Of
nonprofit.
course.
Can you
Yeah.
talk more about that? Like, how did this all play in? And how is your child today?
My son turned 21 in August last year. He lives life. I have three boys, and I must say, of all three, my sons, definitely lives life more fully, without fear, he just does, he will do things that others will be a little bit more cautious of.
Mhm.
But that's because he also has he also has, there's this thing of, you only have so much time, and so you need to live life.
Yeah.
And he has, he has lived life in his 21 years. He's done many things, experienced many things, and all of that. And he's just a go-getter. And so one of the things that happened when my son was ill was that in those days, it seems so long ago. I mean, 2009 is quite a long time ago now.
Mm.
In those days, the support that we received in our country from charities and nonprofits was very centered around the sick child. So most things was around the sick child. I think it's still a lot like that in many places. Um, and the the moment for me was when we had to go to hospital with my son. I had to go. It was a Friday afternoon, and so he needed some blood transfusions and things. And the eldest one, who was 7 at the time, said to the 5-year-old, "Where are you going?" And he said, "To hospital." And then the eldest one looked at him and said, "Who's taking you?" And he said, "Mommy." And so the eldest one said, "But can't dad do that? Can't dad take you?" So he says, "No, I want mommy." And then the eldest one looked at him and said to him, "But mommy's our mommy too." And it
Mm.
was that moment that was a pivotal moment for me. I remember it like it was yesterday. It plays out outside the door to my study. And it was that moment that I realized the impact on the two on the younger two kids, on the other kids. And it was from that moment on that became clear and real to me that we're a family, and a family goes through this. Each and every member of that family struggles. The sibling struggles because they have guilt, they have fear that they may get sick too. They have guilt because they feel like, gosh, I mean, yeah, my brother's sick, but I'm nagging at mommy because I want her time, or whatever that is. And so that sort of became the mission for, or the driving force within me. And I then made sure that I made arrangements that, so as my husband and I must spend some time with the youngsters, that we need to relook that. And so when we were invited to attend activities and things like that, we thought, not knowing, this is us new, we were invited to do something, so we went as a family. But then they pulled the sick kid out and said the sick kid can go do that, and the other two was like, and I've got this 2-year-old, and this 2-year-old is saying, "Oh, can I also go on there?" And it's only the sick kid who's supposed to go on there. And so that's where we came together and said, well, we want to create something different. We want to support families through this experience. And also, when I was in hospital, people came in and out of the hospital, and they come and visit the ward and all of those kinds of things. And I said, yeah, I just smiled and entertained them. But when I walk into a ward, or any of the other moms walk into the ward, or any survivor volunteers walk into the ward, and they say that I'm a mom of a child, they invite me to sit in the chair. They take off their mask and they start to share what's really going on, because they know that we understand. And so that's what we wanted to create. We wanted to create that something different. And so, yes, now, years later, over the years, that's sort of changed, and many organizations are now looking at families and supporting families and all of that.
Mhm.
And so we've also been going through some changes on our side, and so we're actually going to be launching our little different in a few months' time, to April. We're going to be doing something a little bit different, because we understand that obviously we were inspiration to others to start supporting a family too,
Mhm.
and so we're going to do something different.
Well, and
And we're
now you're
excited about the future.
but now you're in a whole other stage of life, but it's still something.
Correct.
It's still part of your story, it's part of your family's story.
That's right.
And how does this, extend into this next phase? Um,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
had some hardships too. My son's father died of brain cancer when my son was,
No.
9, and, it was not a good relationship.
Mm,
He was mentally ill, and it was very, very difficult.
mm,
And, we were trying to find that balance of, you know, what happens when somebody is terminally ill and dies, but
mm.
there's also the boogeyman in your life.
Yeah,
And what do you do with that? And there was nothing for that.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
there was nothing for that, so we joined all the traditional
yeah.
model, support, but even at 8 years old, he was like, "We don't belong here."
And he knew that.
He
Yeah,
knew that, he knew that,
yeah,
and,
yeah.
it's something that, he's fine and he's great and he's 22 years old and all grown
Mm,
up, but, there are times that it comes back
mm.
and, we still have to find our own way with this because, um, you know, I mean, they automatically think, "When
Yeah,
my father died, this is a terrible thing." For us, it wasn't a terrible thing. I mean, it sounds
mm,
terrible, but it wasn't. The truth is, he was horrible to us.
yeah, yeah. And not many people will actually say that. I mean, no,
Yeah,
no one will own up to that.
yeah.
People talk, they sing people's praises at their funerals and things like that, but quietly they think what you're openly sharing with us.
I mean, I don't hide it. I don't talk about it much because it's really not
Yeah,
my story to share,
yeah, yeah.
but we've talked about, like, me talking about it more, and he's fine with
Mm,
it, but, um You know, it was really hard. It was really hard,
yeah,
and it was really
yeah.
hard to figure out, like, I wanna jump
That's
for joy, but maybe that's not the appropriate response.
right. In your shower. I used to cry in the shower because that was
If
the
my
best place
shower
to
could
cry.
talk.
So you can,
But there are so many stories,
yeah,
not everyone has the same story, and that's my point for sharing this is, like, we
definitely.
have our families have both gone through something traumatic,
We all
but
have it.
look at the differences, and we both
Mm,
found our way to
yeah,
make it okay,
yeah,
not only survive it, but to come out the other side better.
yeah, yeah. I think that there needs to be the balance of people who go through it and who survive it, as you say, that come out on the other side, so that we can then be an inspiration to
Yes,
those who
yes,
can't see the light, who can't see the possibility of things, and just and help them.
yeah,
I yeah. I mean, I've always felt like, as I've over the years now, since my son's illness, I've always felt that I notice that I experience things. And so I've realized that I experience things so that I can help someone who's coming later.
yeah,
I said, yes, God, I'll experience,
mhm.
kind of thing. I'll be that person, you know.
But you look around and there's no other hands up, right?
Exactly. I was very forward. And so I said, I'll do that,
That's
and I can imagine it because that's how I usually am. I mean, I will
yeah.
volunteer to do all kinds of things, so I can imagine that that's what the conversation looked like in heaven, before we came,
Well, somebody's
you know.
gotta do it, right?
Exactly. Someone's got to do it, and not everyone is built for it. Not everyone is built for it. They've got other
No,
strengths, and so I just happen to be one of those people who can manage that, and so that's my little thing, and that's me. And I will look to you for your thing, and that's great.
mm,
That's how we complement each other, huh?
yes, yes, totally.
Mm.
And, so how do you envision let's just span out 5 years, okay? Your boys
Okay.
are all happy and healthy and doing great, and your
Mm.
business, like, where's your business? What's the thing that, like, you would really love to see in your business 5 years from now?
Yeah. Really, I'd love to see like a whole team set up. I'd love to see families thriving because they are able to keep their families going,
Yeah.
because my business has been able to help them
Mhm.
do continue to do that. In our country, if your kid gets ill or something like that, you only have that many sick days. Not many people can afford to give up their jobs. And so what happens is that the poor gets poorer. And
Yes.
I want to see the community uplifted. I
Yeah.
want to see that what I've experienced is that many of the people that I've met on this journey, they don't want to be charity cases. They don't want to be treated like that. That's not what they really want. And so I want to give them the opportunities to be able to bring their little bit to society and to earn an income for their families while doing that.
Mhm.
And so that means that I need to have many clients.
Yeah.
I've got to do I've got to have many clients who are looking for people to help them with all kinds of things in the online space. Take the complete back office and like we can just like do it for you. It needs to be so big because there are many people who sit with very ill kids at home and they cannot work and they are struggling. And so I really want to build that. I want to see a world where people can heal and thrive by embracing self-compassion, play, and purpose-driven work, that aligns with who they are. You know, doesn't mean that um, you find that people work in a job. They work in a job. It's not necessarily what they're passionate about.
Yeah.
I want people to not have to feel like they're working a day in their life like I do. I don't want that to be a dream. I want that to be a reality. I
Yeah.
want people to realize and feel I am loving what I'm doing every single day of my life. It's not a job. It's not a chore. It's just a complete sense of freedom to be who they are. That's what I see my business will enable people to do in 5 years' time. I'm going to have all these purpose-driven people working in flow with who they are and really, really bringing their parts in the world. That we all signed up to do when we were born, to live our purposes.
Yeah.
And if that means that I've got to be a street sweeper, I'm going to enjoy doing that because if that's my purpose, then I'm cool with that, kind of thing. Um, yeah, I don't think there'll be need for performance management and all those things if people were really working in their passion. It might sound like a pipe dream, but maybe
No,
years from now.
no, I don't think so. I don't think it's a pipe dream at all because, um, like, what I'm seeing, the way the world online is going, it's going into communities, and
Yeah.
you can land yourself in just the right communities, which I think you pretty much already have.
You think so?
Yeah, and,
Um,
you're working within these communities, so it's tight-knit
yeah.
and it's all supportive of each other, um,
Mm.
and the purpose is shared, it's not individual anymore.
Yeah, correct. It's the collective.
Yeah,
It's about the collective. It
yeah,
really is about the collective. Yeah. Yeah.
and, I think that's how you grow it because, one community will go to another community, and that
Mm.
community will come together, so it's more about, going deeper and smaller than it is about going
Mm. Correct.
and,
Yeah.
and then, growing incrementally and within reason, because you
Yes,
don't wanna create
absolutely.
something you can't support, right? So,
Absolutely.
I think that
I,
that's
I
that's how my business
yeah,
is growing,
yeah. I'm a
and it
firm champion of slow and steady wins the race.
yeah. I mean,
you
about
know.
3 years ago, I shut down my business 'cause it grew in the direction that I didn't like, and,
Hmm.
my son was just really getting on his feet. It was a little post-COVID, and,
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, so I could either do this and keep doing this until I probably just drop dead, or I could
Exactly.
stop and figure out what I want and build what I want," and that's what I did.
Yeah.
That's what I did. Oh,
Yeah.
we've got a visitor,
Yeah. Oh,
Kathy.
hi, Kathy.
Kathy, anything in particular that is, that you're finding lovely and inspirational? We'd love to know. Um,
Yeah.
but I really see that that's the way things will grow. Um,
Yeah.
it also keeps us out of the noise and the divisiveness, and,
Definitely.
helps us support people that we believe in what they do. I mean, the work I do is a little
Yeah.
different than the work that you do, but it's still in supportive, and it's to help
Correct.
people, find and share their voices, um I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean,
Yeah.
this is
I can
it's
tell.
the
I
best
can
thing
tell that you
part of
love
the
it. I've been watching you for a while now.
This is my favorite part of the week.
I know, and it does. Don't you find that it just gives you that oomph to just continue doing what you do? It almost like it fills that cup all the time,
It
because
does,
you're doing what you love.
and when I started this, it was not planned. It was just,
Mm,
it was just a gift. It was really a gift. And,
yeah,
so I just was winging it, and I was like, "Okay, what's the best time to do this?" I just wanted to be consistent so people would know to
mm,
come. And I was like, "I'm just gonna do it right smack in the middle of the week," because that's the time where, you know, maybe somebody
yeah,
is just feeling a little drudgy at the moment, or maybe I'm feeling that way,
yeah,
and maybe
yeah,
it'll just be a little
yeah,
boost. So I was like, "I'm just going right smack in the middle of the week."
yeah. No, and
My
I
time.
get
I don't
that.
know what it is everywhere else.
I get that completely. What I didn't share was that I had a dream. I had a dream in, was it 20, when did my son, so it was 2010. I had a dream. It was June 2010, and I had a dream, and that's how I ended up walking the path of going to register the organization. I got the name of the organization in the dream and all of that. It was my first real, I would say, that spiritual encounter that you long for kind of experience. Um, and everything that has happened, it's happened according to the dream. In the dream, I got the message, and I'm supposed to always remember Kevin Costner, Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. That was part of the message, and it will always be okay. And till this day, it has always been okay for the organization, for my business. It has always been okay. I must just do. I mustn't worry about the how. I must just show up and I
Right.
must do what I need to do. My job
Yeah.
is to take the steps. I'm getting out of the boat. I'm walking on water. Eye on the prize. Eye on the prize. I mustn't look down and get
Mm.
all afraid and whatever and then go and, you know, go down that rabbit hole. My job is to walk on water and look straight ahead. Look to my inspiration, follow, and trust and have faith. And then everything from my experience, when I do exactly that, because trust me, I'm human, I go off the trail.
Mhm.
When
You fall in that water, right?
I go and I look and I'm like, and then I'm like, oh, why did I do that? Because now I've got to swim all the way back up, you know. But when I do exactly that, when I keep my eye on the prize and when I remember that I'm walking in faith, when I remember that, everything falls, the chips, the dominoes, it just all falls into place. And so that for me is key. But I have to also remember to show myself grace because I am a bit of a perfectionist. So if I'm going to fall off the trail, I'm going to end up beating myself up because I fell off the trail and whatever. So I always have to remind myself to show myself grace because that's what God would do, right? And so if I am made in the image of God, then that's what I must remember to do. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, so that's my little inspiration thing to keep me on track. I mustn't be bothered about the how. I must just
No,
do.
the how just figures itself out, and now the how
Correct.
is so much easier with AI.
Oh, I got a bit of a problem, and I'm still not sure about that. In terms of the how, and so
Well,
I must still figure that one out. Because, but I'm sure I will. Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, I don't hand over the reins, but I get a lot of good advice.
Yeah, you
It
do.
helps me
You
make
do.
decisions is what it's really helping me do, because I'm
That's
doing everything
excellent.
myself.
Correct. As most people are.
Exactly, exactly,
As most
exactly.
people are. As most people are.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and,
And that's,
so
yeah.
this has been so amazing, such a great conversation, and Kathy Sparrow has been here with us, and she's been
Oh,
loving the conversation all along, um, and if you are listening on the replay, just, like, post your comments and tag
mm.
us, and we will come back because these interviews live live. They live on, and, I like to end them asking, my interviewee for a wisdom bomb, just something small and actionable that people could take with them, even though you've been
Gosh, I feel
dropping
like
them
I,
for us.
I was going to say, I feel like I've already done that. I feel like I've wisdom bombed earlier all the time
It's
now.
okay. You can pull one back.
Do you think I'd find the inspiration to find one more? I
Well,
just want to
I
say,
bet you have
I,
at least one more.
I don't know. I'm just gonna ask.
Well, you can
I'm
say
just gonna ask for the inspiration to speak through me. And so I
okay.
just want to say, if you feel alone, because that's what happens, most of us feel that we're in it alone. If you feel alone, always remember there's always someone who is on there cheering you on. Reach out to that person. Be honest with that person and say, I need you. I think there was a Simon Sinek, or I'm not sure who did the video. It was Simon Sinek, I think it was, that really stood out for me. It was the 8 minutes. I don't know if you've seen it, Donna, but if you need to speak to a friend of yours or something, the concept of the video, I'll see if I can find it and I'll tag it in the post. If you need to speak to someone and it's really, you really need them, rather than suffering in silence, you just say, I need 8 minutes. You have a little phrase that's sort of your call card, and your friend will know to drop everything and you need them now. It's not an everyday call, but there is a call. So, reach out. You don't have to suffer in silence. There is always someone there to support you. There's always someone there who has your back, because God has placed people in your life for that reason, to be there for each other. And if we
Mhm.
can get back to those old school values of caring for one another, caring for one another's children, we get back to that sense of community and purpose of living together, living for each other, not against each other, without the labels that we've attached to ourselves as I don't know, I don't know what wife, I'm a person of color, whatever that is. If we can see each other, if we can see the God, if you can see the God in me and I can see the God in you, I think it will make for a much better life. Hmm.
You did okay.
Thank you. I don't know what to say from it. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks very
Um,
much.
oh, thank you. Thank you for being here today. And everybody, please connect with Dee. Her website is deirdretaylor.co. And I think we all need a D in our business. So reach out, help
Listen,
her,
say,
help her make that 5-year vision come true. It's out there now.
just
It's out there.
yes, I'm gonna have to. Please hold me accountable.
Yes. It's a
Thanks so
plan.
much.
Thank you. Have a great Wednesday,
Thank you.
everybody. We will be back tomorrow with a wisdom panel titled Voices Carry. So join us back here
Hmm.
again tomorrow at noon Eastern, and we are booked every Wednesday till I think July,
Mm,
with interviews. So
gosh.
keep coming back.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Dee.
Thank you. Bye.